Hi everyone, welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. It has been a very long time. A lot has happened in my life this year, and I'm back because I wanted to feature this calendar, which I was generously gifted by We Moon Publishers, which is a spiritual new age publishing company based out of, I believe, Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken. And they generously gifted me this along with the equivalent agenda slash date book version. I'm actually going to be gifting this to one of my dear friends, but I wanted to feature it on my channel so you can get a chance to see what it's like and potentially support a new age business. So this is the version for 2024, and for 2024 they did actually feature Black artists, which is pretty cool. So you can see that there's a lot of detail in this calendar. There's also a lot of spiritual and astrological information. As you get to the back, they have all kinds of timetables and very yummy things. Looks like they do also have like a directory of all the contributors. So if you want to follow their social media channels, things like that. There's also prayers and descriptions. Some of them are prayers and incantations, it looks like. This is definitely not focused. I'm just gonna have to work with it. But, you know, I'm on a basic biatch budget here with my setup, so I'm doing the best that I can with what I have. But we do have like prayers and incantations here. We also have blurbs from different astrologers. This is an example of what like a month looks like. You can see that they have the different lunar phases, which is pretty cool. So you can pretty easily spot when it's like new and full moon. They also show you the ingress. So like when a sign, especially a luminary, changes signs. So you can see here, like here the moon is going into Taurus. Here the moon is going into Aries, right? The sun is square the moon here. So it's pretty cool in that regard as well. And I'm just going to flip through the different months so you can get an idea of what they look like. So this is January. This is February. This is March. This is April. This is May. This is June. You can see that. July. August. September. October, which is a pretty cool one. November and December. So that's that calendar there. You can buy it directly on their website. I'll put the link in the description, but it's called the We Moon on the Wall 2024 Astrological and Lunar Calendar with art and writing from We Moon 2024 Illuminations. And I'm pretty sure at the beginning of the calendar, they talk about the inspiration for that year's theme. And yeah, they do talk about it a lot here. And they describe, you know, more about who they are and all kinds of good stuff. So check it out. So I wanted to feature that. It's also been a really long time, and this is what the front looks like. I forget if I showed that. This is the front and this is the back. So it's also been a really long time since I've done a pick a card, and just in the spirit of kind of giving back, I'm going to do a pick a card for, essentially this is for the new moon in Sagittarius cycle, which is effective as of tomorrow. The moon's already in Sag right now, but it will be a new moon exact tomorrow. I always have a really complicated relationship with Sagittarius energy because my Saturn is there, but it's interesting that my Uranus is actually conjunct this new moon. So I'm finding that there's a lot of breaking free energy, at least for myself, and that I've been doing a lot of kind of purging, especially like digital detoxing of connections and things and just all kinds of stuff that I just really barely interact with or haven't interacted with for, in some of cases, years. And I'm just kind of clearing that out, which has been really liberating for me. Hold on one quick second. Like clockwork, anytime I ever start a video, Monty like always has to go over to his like water and food bowl and start eating. It's just or demand peanut butter, which we'll see which of the two are gonna happen right now. But the card decks that I'm using, so I have the Fairy Forest Oracle by Lucy Cavendish. I have the Moon Witch Oracle, and I think this is by Cosmic Valeria. This is a really, really pretty deck. And then I have a traditional tarot deck. I may use some additional things as I feel called. But for right now, I'm going to queue up the three piles off camera. This is my Labrador Ganesha, if you've never been introduced to him, but he's got a really nice flash. You can see it there. I'm going to queue up the three piles off camera and I will be right back. Okay, so I had two cards that kind of jumped out at me, which I feel are important cards for the collective. So I want to speak to these. And I did also cut the deck randomly and I got Queen of Wands. So I feel like in general, this is definitely feeling called to cut it again. And I got the Ten of Swords. So there's definitely a lot of endings going on right now, but also simultaneously stepping into our confidence and our power, right? Queen of Wands knows what she wants. She gets what she wants most of the time. She's very like alluring, she calls energy to her. And I also cut it again and I got Seven of Pentacles, which is about seeds well planted, but needing to be patient for kind of the harvest to come. But in particular, the two cards that I got, kind of jumping cards that I feel are for the collective, I got the World, which definitely signifies something coming to an end, a chapter or a cycle. Now, obviously, the year in the traditional calendar is coming to an end, not so much in like the pagan wheel of the year, right? Because that starts at Samhain, Halloween. But we do have this kind of chapter closing. And then, of course, we each go through our own individual cycles and individual chapters, right? We could certainly get into astrology, but we can talk about other things too. Like if you're, studying and the semester ends, or, there's so many different variations of this, right? Something coming to an end in order for a new beginning to start. The world is definitely things coming full circle and kind of coming to an end with something. And we do have shapeshifter as well, transformation, primal wisdom, and instinct. This is like really strong owl vibes too, which is very, very kind of saggy in a way, right? Because Sagittarius is about wisdom and the pursuit of wisdom, acquiring wisdom, right? So I think this is a time where we are aware that this ending is taking place, and we're also kind of doing some information gathering and some kind of reflecting and gathering insight before we go into the next cycle. And that's perfectly okay. So I'm feeling called to cut again the deck, and I got the Star, right, which is about hope and optimism for the future. And Sagittarius is definitely a very hopeful sign. It's one of the most kind of buoyant energies of the zodiac because it's ruled by Jupiter. So it does relate to having optimism and having kind of joy. It can also relate to abundance. And, but there can also be too much of a good thing, right? So we can have, cautions with Sagittarius can be like belief systems that are overly inflated, or avoidance tendencies as well can come up with Sag a lot, where it's like all play and no work and like not confronting things head on. So, there's different, I'm going to always give like a very practical, grounded representation of Sag because my Saturn's in Sag. So, like, literally, my Saturn will not let me become like overly inflated with certain things when it comes to Sag energy. And that's just, part of my astrology. And plus, I'm an earth sign. I have a lot of Virgo energy, so I'm very practical in that way. But in general, this is a time where we do look to the future with hope, and especially a new moon in Sag is a lot of energy about looking forward with faith and hope and belief that things are going to get better, right? And hope and belief and faith are very, very important things. They carry us really far in life, and they're just as important as putting in the hard work. It's just a different energy archetype, if you will, than what comes before, right? Which would be Scorpio, which is like diving deep, getting to the bottom of things, versus Capricorn, right? Which is really, putting in that hard work. It also relates to traditions and structures and various things there, right? Sometimes by the time we get into Capricorn season, you're like, oh, I miss that Sagittarius energy because Capricorn is really serious. So different vibes, right, as we go through the different seasons, but they each serve a purpose. Okay, so as usual, I'm going to hold up each individual pile. Monty is licking my feet, which is one of his usual habits, to be honest. Okay, so I'm going to hold up each individual pile. If you've watched my videos before, you know the drill. But if you're new, essentially I hold up the back of the cards and I hold them up for just a few moments. If you need more time, you can always pause the video or you can go into the description where I put the timestamps. And sometimes I also do a pinned comment with the timestamps as well. And you could just intuitively look at the numbers and just see which category you're drawn to. Um, you can't really get this wrong, right? This is just your intuition guiding you. So if you pick a pile and then it's not resonating, you can go back and pick a different one. What I find really interesting is that energy fluctuates and changes all the time. So you can come back to a pick card video and get so many different meanings and nuances depending on what you need to hear at that time and like what you're vibrationally attracting and matching to, right? Likewise with really any pick a card video. And the same is true for readers, right? Not every reader pairs well with every person. I've recently had to distance myself from, a reader that I was getting readings from for several years, and it's definitely the right decision. And I'm attracting and finding new readers that feel really good to me, and it's normal and healthy to be examining the different connections and relationships you have in your life besides just romantic and friendship, right? And looking at the dynamic and if it's balanced, if it's healthy, things like that, right? So, if you feel like it's not vibing with you and my channel's not vibing with you, it's totally fine if you want to pursue a different reader. But definitely giving at least your intuition a chance to tune into the pile that feels right for you is the most obvious, the most important. I have like a few readers that I go to on YouTube, and then if I find that the way that they're helping me is like no longer helping me, I guess is the best way I could explain it. I really look at that and say, okay, well, I think this person served a purpose for this time to model this type of energy, but then if it becomes too much, you can move on, right? Because one thing that's for sure in life is we definitely pick up different types of, let me rephrase, we pick up, we co-create is really the word I'm looking for. We co-create different types of energy and different types of energy momentums with different people, right? So that's why you could go to 3 different people and in theory get like 3 different opinions, 3 different reactions, right? It's up to you ultimately what you want to do. But through kind of pairing up with different types of people, we have the opportunity to experience different types of energies. And that's very important, right? So I feel like I'm rambling a bit now. So let's just get into doing the pile pick. So this is the energy of pile number 1. And this card is upside down, but that's intentional because it came out upside down. So that's the energy of pile 1. This is the energy of pile 2. And this is the energy of pile 3. Pile 3 got a little bit extra. You guys need a little extra, pile 3 peeps. So with that being said, I'm going to roll into pile 1. If that's not your pile, go to the timestamps in the description and just advance to the section that is your pile. Okay, pile 1 peeps, these are the cards for you. Let's get into it and see what we've got going on. Like I said, as I feel called, I may pull some additional cards. It does not want to go here. So first, let's look at this card that came up in reverse. So we have the Ancient. elder, experience lessons. Card number 45. This kind of gives me some hermit vibes as well as some hierophant vibes, potentially even high priestess. You know, in the tarot, if I'm not mistaken, actually, I'm not going to speak to that because I don't know if that's totally accurate, but yeah, I'm getting kind of hermit vibes, hierophant vibes, possibly even high priestess vibes. And again, we have an energy here of an owl, so more kind of Sagittarius wisdom type energy. But this did come up in reverse. So I wonder if in this dynamic, you are the younger person or the more youthful person in the situation. And it's almost like you need to acquire more wisdom, or the situation that you're thinking about, you know, you're kind of up against someone that's older than you or like an authority figure, right, in your life. We have Moonflower Bloom, even if no one is watching. Such a good card. And this is like a new moon energy here, although you could see it's actually I think that's just a straight up new moon. What's really beautiful about these cards is that, you know, they go through the different lunar cycles. Some cards are goddesses, but other ones, you know, go through the different moon phases. Not every card has like the moon symbol on it, but you could see like this one's like a crescent. So there's different types of ones. But that's a really pretty deck. I love that deck. Then from the tarot, so we have the Four of Cups. Okay. Four of Cups. These cards are actually from a tarot, like a tarot deck maker based out of Germany, and she has them in all different colors. They're so cool. If you're interested in like, you know, getting more with her decks, feel free to like leave a comment below, and I can try to link you to her Etsy shop where I got them. But yeah, so we have the Four of Cups here. We have Five of Swords, and we have Justice. Okay. I love Justice. It's one of my favorite cards in the deck. That might be because my moon's in Libra and I'm a Libra ascendant, but also I think, you know, Sagittarius, and I have some strong Saggy placements in my chart too. You know, Sagittarius can have a really strong like social justice component to it as well. It's a little bit more hidden because people traditionally think of Sag as kind of like buoyant and happy and like, you know, all about manifestation and abundance and different things there. But Sag also has like it can have a really serious component where, you know, it's passionate about social justice issues and equality and things like that. So I feel like there's some kind of situation here. Let me pull another tarot to clarify. I'm debating if I should get more decks. We'll see in a second. Clarifier on this, please. So Devil card kind of wants to come out. Let's get one more. And this one wants to come out as well. So we do have the Devil card, which is a card about, it can be related to addictions, but also relates to attachments. And then we have the Eight of Wands. Okay, so this is like a lot of fast energy. This could be a lot of communication. This could also be very busy energy or very frenetic energy. The fact that this is with this kind of ancient or elder energy in reverse, I feel like this is something where in some way you feel bound or tied to this person that potentially is this authority figure in your life or this older figure, you know, and there's a lot of energy here. And sometimes you might feel like it gets a little toxic here. There could have been something that kind of happened recently, some type of fight, you know, if I said Five of Wands, that's inaccurate. I meant to say Five of Swords. I don't remember what I said. But there could have been some type of fight or like verbal disagreement with this person, this authority figure recently, you know, where it's like harsh words were said to you, harsh words were sent in exchange. And, you know, it's just like a very argumentative type of conflict card here. But if you notice in the card, it's like nobody is really happy with the situation, right? We have two people in the back that are kind of like walking away with their swords down. This person is holding two swords, technically three swords, but they're looking at these people walking away. So even though it might appear as though like one person's like, you know, the last person standing, if you will, it's sort of like they're not cooperating with each other. There's not harmony with each other. And even though this person might have got something out of it, you know, maybe it's come at kind of a cost. And the cost could be that they decided to reject that person, or they decided to push them away, or kind of change their attachment to that person, right? With the Four of Cups, it's really a card that's saying, like, I don't want it. Now, sometimes we have to be cautious because, this card can have an energy of like the universe trying to give something to you and you don't want to accept it, which is a lot of the time the way that people will position this card. But I also think of this card as, you know, it's sort of like that expression, right? Like rejection is God's protection. So sometimes if something's being pushed, if you're pushing something away, and you feel like, in your heart, that it's right for you to be taking space or distance from that person, place, or thing, that can be very healthy too, right? And I feel like with the Justice card here, this is definitely a card of, this is Libra ruled energy. But like I said, it can have also a strong like Sagittarian bent to it. And this is definitely a card about rebalancing the scales. I love the Justice card because it's like, even if this situation looks really bad, fairness will win out in the end, and what's kind of meant to be, this can also be a card of even like karmically rebalancing the scales. So if in this situation you feel like you've been wronged, or you feel like you've been hurt in some way by, what this person energetically has brought to you, this is just an energy that says, maybe it doesn't happen immediately in the 3D reality, but kind of in the 4D and the 5D, dimensions, there is kind of a karmic balancing that goes on, which, I know sometimes, like, as human beings, we're like, but I want vengeance, like, I want vengeance now, right? But a lot of it is like spiritual lessons and spiritual growth. And I think that sometimes it's like the purpose of that type of energy when that friction and that disruption occurs. I didn't really pull the tower, so this might not be something that's like so drastically damaging, but I definitely think there's been conflict here and, maybe a pushing away of this situation, person, place, or thing. Kind of on the energetic side, it's like there's this rebalancing going on. And also as we kind of clear away, whether it just be feelings, maybe there was like feelings that had to be expressed, um kind of getting to the bottom of how we feel about something. I actually went through that recently with kind of an authority figure in my life, um, which was very much a situation that was very unpleasant. And I'm still not fully to the other side of it yet, but in my heart, I know that what I spoke was, the depth of how I felt about a lot of things that were going on for many months, and that has to be kind of addressed and expressed, whether it's with that person or whether it's just with yourself that you get that closure, right? So this is also kind of like this balancing of the scales that, you know, it balances out energetically, even if it causes some pain in the short term and you have to separate. It's sort of like there's still growth and lessons that can come from that, which karmically, spiritually can create kind of this rebalancing of the scales, if you will. So essentially what I'm saying is like there could be some, kind of karmic energy that's sort of being like checked off and acknowledged, like on the energy side, if that was something that you went through. I feel like we're missing a little bit, so let me get one more deck for this. Okay, so these are the Heal Yourself reading cards by Ina Seagal, which I always call my like slap in the face cards because they usually hit pretty hard with something that, you need to be confronted with. Actually, before I pull, let me just make sure this deck is properly reset. I always like to reset my decks before I do readings so I know if something comes up reversed that it's really meant to be reversed, which for anyone that's like a statistics nerd out there is called probability with replacement. Okay, so pile one peeps. What do we need to see here? Feel and understand. Pile one peeps. So we have say what you mean, right? This is definitely, again, this energy of like difficult things have been expressed here, harsh things have been said. But what I find interesting is like this bloom, even if no one is watching. So, and the devil card can be like where we're overly attached to someone or person or thing or, a place. It doesn't have to be a person necessarily. Um, so I feel like there's this energy of like, even if this person has, you know, an unfavorable opinion of the situation or there is conflict between you, you do have to create space and separation. Ultimately, you have to focus on your own life and what you need to do for yourself, right? And it's kind of again that like justice energy. It's like trust that pulling your energy back in and focusing on yourself, even if that person can't really see your growth or the choices you're making, that karmically, energetically, it's kind of being balanced out because you're putting that work on yourself and you're not giving your power away to this person. Let's get one more here for pile one peeps. Actually, let's do two more. So it's supposed to be a short pick card, but not so much. So we do have alchemy and soulmate. Okay, so there is this energy of like, there's a strong connection to this person, right? Place or thing. And I feel like in some ways this could be karmically, energetically, something that maybe the two souls agreed to do. Maybe one soul agreed to be more of that, authoritative figure in the other person's life, and to stir up in that younger, more protege type person things that they could learn and grow into, right? But the thing is, we don't want to get stuck there. We don't want to get stuck in that place of giving that authority figure all of the power, right? Where we're just kind of just flexible to whatever their kind of needs and whims and feelings are. So I feel like there's just this energy here of like, even though there's been conflict, trust that it's kind of being worked out in the energetic realms and to not feel that you have to completely give your power away to this person because this connection serves a purpose. Maybe it's served a purpose, maybe it's still serving a purpose, but you still have to kind of trust your own energies and take care of yourself, and that can involve withdrawing from this person, even if that just means withdrawing from their opinions, because Sagittarius also relates to, beliefs and opinions. It's the opposite of Gemini, which is about facts and information. So with Sagittarius energy, we do have to be really careful about like the beliefs and the opinions that we hold, because sometimes they can be based, um, in a skewed way, right? Because Sagittarius also relates to religion, where, Sagittarius kind of runs a big gamut from everything from just like, I believe this or I have this opinion, all the way to this is my entire faith system. This is my entire collection of belief systems, right? So I think like for you, Pile One Peeps, it's like, there's definitely like this connection here where there's been a lot of energy with this person, but you have to kind of trust that even though things might look kind of spoiled right now or that, you know, harsh words have been said and you've pulled your energy back, that energetically this could actually be something that the souls, before coming here kind of agreed to do, which was to go through some of these karmic lessons and learn about themselves, right? Because ultimately you're still growing and learning about yourself, even through those moments of conflict and tension. And one of those lessons could be not to completely give your power away, to someone else. Like someone can serve as a teacher in your life, but at the same time, you don't have to completely become codependent on them or like totally give your power away to that person, is basically what I'm saying. So that's what I have for you, Pile One Peeps. Feel free to comment down below. Let me know how that was for you. I'm going to roll into pile two's reading now. Okay. Let me just smudge a little bit after pile one. I'm just smudging a little bit here, clearing some energy from what I had in the previous pile. So for you pile two peeps, let me just acclimate to your cards. for a few minutes here, or not a few minutes, few seconds. And I'm also going to pull from this additional deck I brought out for pile 1, which is the Heal Yourself Reading Cards by Ina Seagal. Looks like this. So let's get an additional card here, pile 2. What does pile 2 need to see here? Feel and understand. Pile 2, pile 2, pile 2. What does pile 2 need to see here, feel and understand? Okay, I like that. Okay, so we have Ace of Cups with Temperance, which again is a Sagittarius. It can be like a very Saggy energy. There's so much Saggy energy all up in this pick a card, which makes sense because it's New Moon and Sag. And then the Two of Wands. Okay, so there's definitely been an offer here, something that is being offered to you. You know, traditionally the Ace of Cups is like an emotional invitation. You know, this can be like the first blush of love, but this can also be like, you know, a literally an offer, like even a business offer or something job related that you feel really good about, or it could be related to like a new home. It can take on a variety of like new blank, if you will, like new person, place, or thing. But the key is that there's an emotional connection to it. There's like this energy from the heart that's behind it, right? I feel like this is related a bit maybe to housing or relocating, because I did pull the home card from the Heal Yourself reading cards. So it's like there's this invitation to step into a new home. Now, that could be physically your home, that could be a new job environment, a new job home, if you will, right? Or maybe a relationship that you're in is progressing to the next level, or maybe you're going from kind of zero status in a relationship to being in a status in a relationship, right? But there's a progression here that's from the heart. Now, I do think that part of this situation is still going to require some time and some patience, because like the Temperance card is about balancing two different energies. So my ring light just like totally fell down as I said that. So if we take the example of like going into a new home, right, which is something like I can relate to, it takes, you know, the two people that are involved, um, you know, balancing like a little bit of my energy, a little bit of their energy, right? And then if there's external factors involved, you kind of have to balance and moderate that too, right? So, you know, this is a card that's reminding you about patience, and that this is kind of a blending of two energies. So it's going to take a little bit of time. But we do have the Two of Wands here, which is definitely a card about, you know, looking out to the future, looking ahead to the future. This is a card of future planning. But if you notice in the Two of Wands, he's still kind of standing on the castle. He hasn't like left the castle and is kind of, you know, wandering around like in the Three of Wands. So this is definitely a card about looking to the future and making future plans. You might be talking about future plans with this person, or talking about future plans in your home or with this job prospect, things like that, you know. So some of this for you pile 2 peeps could just be confirmation of something that you're kind of manifesting that's in your energy. And maybe sometimes like, you know, you'd like for this manifestation to go a little faster with more clarity, but this is saying like, this is definitely underway. It's just that there's a couple different factors that are kind of balancing out in this story. And it's going to take some more time before you're kind of fully off and running, but you're definitely there. The offer is there emotionally, energetically, and you're kind of doing some balancing healing work on it. Temperance card is also about healing, you know, and looking forward to the future, making future plans. We do have waning giveth count your blessings. So this could be a literal message of like, during those times where you feel frustrated that the manifestation is not picking up more speed or going faster, it's like bring yourself back to the present moment and acknowledge, okay, well, I'm grateful that this aspect is present. I'm grateful that we have this. I'm grateful that there's this aspect, you know. Sagittarius, again, is an energy which kicks off with Thanksgiving. So it is an energy about, you know, abundance and hope for the future, but also, you know, this grateful energy where we're present to the energy that we receive, and we within that, you know, it's like we want to play in that space. So this is a good way to also help you with that healing and that patience that's required, is, you know, periodically doing gratitude lists or kind of doing gratitude check-ins about what you do have and the way that things are. And then we have the Elf Queen, introverted burden and responsibility, right? So this could be this I did mention like external factors, right? So this could be the energy of someone else that's an external factor in this situation that might be at times testing your patience, and causing you to need to do more of that patience and that balance. Let's get another tarot card on that. This kind of gives me, well, I was gonna say this gives me some Queen of Swords vibes, but let's see what we get in the tarot. So for pile two peeps, what do they need to see, hear, feel, and understand? Oh, beautiful. We got the Sun card. So for me, the Sun card is, I mean, obviously the traditional meaning is that it's a happy, positive outcome assured. It's a yes card as well. But the other meaning of the Sun card for me too is when the zodiac changes signs. So it could be that you see a bit more of this future planning as we go into potentially Capricorn season. And actually, if we think of it, Capricorn does relate to things like home and family, right? Cancer relates to more of well, Cancer can relate to home and family, but so can Capricorn. People traditionally think of Capricorn as like only about work, but actually Capricorns are really focused on, their home life as well, because that's the same axis, right? The 10th house and the fourth house, they're very interconnected. So it's almost like as we go into Capricorn season, there is this shift to more planning, more happiness, more hope on the home front, right? Which is a beautiful thing. And I did cut the deck and I got the Two of Pentacles. So this is again this energy of balancing two different energies, right? This could be your energy with your partner's energy, or your energy with the prospective new company or the new boss, right? If it's kind of a new work and a new work home you're stepping into. But I feel like the key here for you, pile two peeps, and I do get this vibe of like there is kind of this external factor here. I cut the deck and I saw, although I cut it and I saw Knight of Swords, and then it also kind of went to the Three of Pentacles. So there might be a need to collaborate with this person that's the external factor, you know? And I don't know, I was getting Queen of Swords. This is like a very wintry kind of energy to me. Um, so there is this energy here of needing to kind of balance two different energies. But I think what's important to understand is like there is a lot of good about this situation. There's definitely a lot of love here, a lot of energetic, emotional attraction to this new home. Interpret whatever that home is for you, whether it's a work environment or a physical home or a new partner or whatever. But there's still this energy of kind of needing to balance like the two different perspectives, and balance kind of your way and their way. And then if there's an external party involved in some type of way, it's like then you got to sometimes deal with that. So patience is required here, but we do have some really beautiful energy with the Sun. And I like seeing the Two of Wands as well, because it's like together, the two of you, whether it be you and your prospective employer or you and your partner, you're very focused on, okay, this is what the future looks like for us. This is how I'd like this to go. This is how I'd like to plan even something as simple as like redesigning this room or things like that, right? There's a lot of happy energy here to do those things. So I really like this for you, pile two peeps. Definitely a card that, a pile here that's reminding you about patience, but also reminding you that there's a lot of good in this situation and it is still evolving and requiring patience, but there's a lot of good there. So keep at it. Okay, pile three peeps. These are the cards for you. Let's get into it. And you were the pile that I got a bunch of extra cards here. So let me pull an additional card. This is from the Heal Yourself Reading Cards by Ina Segal, which I started working with from pile one. So let's get another one here for you, pile three peeps. This one came up sideways, which is my challenge position. Let me get one more. Maybe one more here. We'll come back to that if we feel called. And let me also get an additional tarot card here. I feel like I need to do a little bit of rearranging. What is this energy down here? And some strange energy with this. Pull one more here. Okay. So much energy here. 3 peeps. I keep trying to get clarity. It's like it keeps going deeper and deeper. Okay. So I'm gonna start with this whole mashup of like cards I was just pulling, which like was going really deep. So the first bit of cards we have are the Fairy Godmother, card number 32, Revelation, Discover, Epiphany. And then we have Familiar, Listen and Learn. Almost has like her head is actually like a different color than you could see that. She almost has a bit of like a Sekhmet vibe, if I'm saying that right, which is an Egyptian goddess that relates to like strength and like kind of lioness energy. So I think there's some type of situation here. We do, I was trying to pull some clarifiers on it, and I got like the Five of Cups, which is a card of like disappointment, regret, uh, bitterness, can be sadness as well. And then I got some good cards here, which we'll talk about, but then I did also pull the Tower. So I do feel like there's some type of disruptive event that occurred with this energy here. And this could be, again, we had this occur in one of the other piles as well, where it was like one person in the dynamic is older or more like an authority figure, So this is like fairy godmother. So it implies that this person is like a much older, potentially a much older woman, And I don't mean older as in like a few years. This could be like we're talking like a couple decades older, is kind of the vibe I'm getting here. And I think that there's some type of situation with this person where maybe you look to them for wisdom or you look to them for maybe support, right? Because like the fairy godmother is like she comes in and she helps Cinderella get like a beautiful new dress. And this, with this listen and learn, it's like this might have been someone that you literally learned from, again, like a mentor, a guide, an authority figure. Could be a female energy too here. But there could be something that happened recently which was really disappointing with this person. The Five of Cups is like, I do not like the way that this went down, or I don't like the way I'm being treated, or I don't like the way that this happened, right? And this could have occurred very unexpectedly. Maybe on their end, they were like not seeing this, and then it kind of came as a bit of a surprise. So I feel like with this situation, we do have some happy cards here, though. Like we do have the Six of Pentacles, which is a card about balanced energies, can also relate to soulmates. We do have the King of Cups. So this is like a card of emotional stability with, a masculine energy here. And then the Knight of Cups is, which is getting what you want, wish fulfillment, right? So I feel like there's something about this situation. I'm really just drawn to this listen and learn card where it's like, this is an opportunity for each of you to kind of listen and learn, and if you look like this person or this kind of cat goddess, right, is kind of looking up to the sky. I don't know if in that deck she might actually have, though, a card for Sekhmet. Let me just look, because she does have like Hecate. She has other goddesses in here. So let me just do a quick peek if she has her here, because I feel like she does. And that might be something also related here. Here she is, Sekhmet. Courage, truth, shadow work, right? And I actually like the way that she's presented here better because it's more accurate with the way that the goddess is like represented usually. But the energy is true here, right? That she relates to like courage. So there could have been a situation with this person, this older female figure, maybe where you had to stick up for yourself, or, it kind of became a situation of like, I need you to listen to me now. Like I need you to learn something from me now about the way that this made me feel, you know. And this might have been kind of disruptive to this person, but I feel like as long as you know that you're not emotionally just kind of like being like knee jerk with your feelings and being like super reactive, but you're still grounding your emotions in some type of, some type of kind of masculine energy or some type of container, right? Um, that could be like a strongly worded email, right? Or a written letter or something where it's like you kind of contain the energy so that even though there's a lot of emotion there, as you're presenting that emotional information to the person, you're still grounded in your approach to doing it, right? Where you don't appear like just erratic and completely ruled by your emotions. And I think because if you can approach it that way, or either you've already done that or you're thinking about doing it, but I feel like there's energetic support around doing it that way because it's going to help both sides to kind of look at the energy exchange in this, right? And ultimately get to a place of both people feeling good. I don't really see this as being like the end of this relationship with this authority figure. I see it more as a learning opportunity that might have been kind of disruptive and came out of nowhere. But both sides kind of get to learn something about the experience, and maybe it gives kind of the younger party in the dynamic a chance to express things that maybe they want to express, like the way that they feel, especially if they do feel like it was an act of courage to kind of say those things, right? Because this person is somewhat of an authority figure. And I feel like this is reinforced here because we do have the Queen of Swords, right? Which is a woman that can be very harsh, very critical with her words, or just a feminine energy in general. And cast a circle, healthy boundaries are crucial for growth, right? So it's like having boundaries with this person. Now, this could also be like a man, it doesn't have to be a woman. It's just this energy, it's typically more of a female energy, right? But this person that their words can cut, they can really hurt and they can cut really deep. So this is again saying like, okay, the way that you're speaking to me, the way that you're treating me, the way that you're talking to me, the choices, the mental choices, because this is swords, so this is more mental, that you're making are affecting me in this way. And I'm going to, stand up for myself. I'm going to have courage in defending myself about this, while at the same time acknowledging that, I have to have certain boundaries with this. And boundaries can look like also expressing, we can't expect someone to know what we need unless we communicate it. But along with that, it's also saying, okay, well, I understand that you might do this behavior, but this is, moving forward, this is what I need from you, if that's what it's going to be like, right? Boundaries a lot of times can be verbal, and they can also be like a request of the person as well. It's not always just physical separation, right? It can also be like mentally, I need this from you in order to feel supported. Now, totally separate, I feel like, to that is this energy over here of the Knight of Wands and the King of Wands. So it's like, there's this energy here that's maturing. Now this could be your energy, or it could be another person in your life, but they're learning how to go from being a Knight of Wands, which is more like impulsive and ruled by like passion and, fiery feelings, to King of Wands, where they're more secure. And the King of Wands is definitely like, an excellent leader and confident. And he's a king, he's like a ruler of the land. So there's this maturing energy that's going on here, where you're stepping into more of your personal power and your confidence. If that's you, or if that's someone else in your life, maybe their energy is kind of modeling that to you, and somehow this is also related in that story. They could serve as kind of a helpful force to you also in this dynamic, where maybe they inspire you, seeing their kind of excuse me, seeing their kind of arc or their growth from Knight of Wands to King of Wands could help you also be kind of inspired about, stepping into your own confidence. Now, another message, so it's almost like pile three peeps. Your guides and your angels were trying to give you like low key, high key, like three messages in one, because we have this one energy message over here about managing this Queen of Swords vibe. Then we have this energy over here about maturing into the King of Wands, whether that be you or someone else inspiring it. And then we have this energy as well, which is like totally different again. So we have the Nine of Pentacles, which is a card about like enjoying life's little luxuries, taking care of yourself, giving treats to yourself, things like that. But it also relates to self-employment and can also relate to like entrepreneuring and business, right? And then we do have take off your masks, and this came up in sideways, which is my challenge position. So, you know, um, there's this energy here of it's like you definitely have talent. That's basically what this is saying. It's like you definitely have talent, you have gifts to give. You might have a lot of different things that you can do, different hobbies, different talents. This is just really like your guides nudging and encouraging you that make use of your different talents, you know? And this is almost something I need to be reminded of too, because doing card readings, doing astrology is like my number one main squeeze love, and then I love card readings as well. Astrology is like the thing I cannot live without. It's like my lifeblood, and then cards are like up there really high as well. But I like don't obsess about them as much as astrology. But this is one of my passions and one of my talents and one of my gifts, but it's not my only talent and my only gift, right? Like I have different types of talents, different things that I can do that I do. So I feel like this is just a reminder that, if you have different talents, be practicing expressing them. And that might also take some of the pressure off of like this person here too. It's like they're not your only source of inspiration. Like you have this inspiration over here. This is another potentially important relationship in your life that's blooming and blossoming, right? Whether that be the growth of the Knight of Wands to King of Wands in and of yourself, or being with someone that's kind of learning how to be a King of Wands, right? But there's a lot of energy here of like setting boundaries with this person, maybe sticking up to this person that could have wounded you in some type of way with their approach, with their words, with the way that they thought something through. Um, while also being inspired by these people around you that are stepping into more of their confidence and their courage, right? And acknowledging that you have different types of talents here, and to not neglect your different types of talents. So I do feel like they're kind of like three distinct little messages that for some reason pile three peeps, like you just needed to hear all three. um but I really like this energy for you. There's definitely some advice here, as well as some inspiration and a reminder to like kind of not forget about your different gifts. Maybe somebody listening to this is like an artist, and like they don't always devote time to kind of working on their art, right? Maybe they work like a totally different job, but this is like you have different talents. So give yourself permission to express those different talents. And maybe it doesn't look like 80%, 80% on the talent and 20% on, you're the other things in your life. Maybe it's the percentages could be unevenly distributed for a while you're kind of working other things, but it's just a reminder to like not neglect the different types of talents that you have. So that's what I have for you, pile three peeps. I totally forgot to say throughout this video, if you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe to my channel, comment down below. So feel free to like share the love in the comments, encourage other people to do that, because those things really, really do help like the YouTube algorithm to suggest my content to other people that it could benefit, and it's totally free to do it. I also did a feature of the calendar here at the beginning, the Wee Moon 2024 calendar. So if you missed that, you can go back to the very beginning and check out me kind of featuring that and going through that. And that's pretty much what I have for you guys for this video. I'll also say, this year I've been under really intense Saturn transits this year. Saturn opposing like everything, like my sun, my Mars, my Venus. So there's been a lot of restructuring in my life and a lot of changes, some very positive, some very difficult. But there's been a lot of change in my life that I've been navigating, and I basically started two really important relationships in my life around my birthday. One is like a commitment more with my career, and the other is with, my love life and dating. So there has been a lot of, rebalancing and restructuring that I've been going through. And with that, I haven't always had time to dedicate to my spiritual business, but it is still a passion and a talent that I have. And, I don't plan on it. It's so funny that the alarm would go off then. I don't plan on it ever going away. It's just that sometimes my available attention to it does shift. But even though you might not see me posting on social media, I'm always available to do private readings. You can DM me or email me. My email is juliannefay@gmail.com. This is a good time if you want to do like a year ahead reading, or if you want me to look at astrologically, even what's coming up for you in like the first 3 months of the year. This is a good time if you would like to focus on that. And I do have listings on my Etsy shop, which you can look at directly and you can pursue it there, or you can email me and kind of collab and we can design something together. But even when I'm not super active with it, I just want to make that known that I'm always available to be contacted to do private readings with astrology as well as cards. So sending you all so much love and light, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.